My blissful gorgeous said, the fourth day of Mahabharat war was fearful and horrifying. Bhimsen killed dozens of brothers of Duryodhan. His son Ghatotkacha presented such a horrifying encounterment that even Kaurava General Bhishma's heart became shaken up, and therefore he announced the end of fighting for that day before sunset. Feeling down and disappointed, Duryodhana went to Bhishma in the night and asked, I believed all along that yourself, my teacher Drona and Kripacharya and Ashwatthama can conquer the whole world for me, but what is the reason that every day we are facing defeat? What is special in the Pandavas? Hearing this, Bhishma became seated up, all alert, and said, the power of righteousness is like a steel rock made of thunderbolts. Duryodhan, how many times shall I explain you? It is invincible. Krishna is the very embodiment of that righteousness, and you are unrighteous. That is the reason. Understand it sooner the better. All those too that follow you are equally unrighteous. How can a thorn pierce a mighty rock? Definitely, I have enough power to kill all the Pandavas myself, but that again is the only impossibility. The Pandavas have lived for a very long time upon their dharma. Now, Atma's immortality and invincibility is at their disposal. I also live by the dharma and fight by dharma. I do as much as I do only by that Almighty Krishna allowing me to do so. Otherwise, we would have been long since already dead. Don't you remember Barbarika, the grandson of Bhimsen, who almost killed our entire army in a minute? In this context, Bhishma described in detail the incarnation of Bhagavan Narayan and Krishna's role. Krishna's role is unburdening the earth. He explained Krishna's pleasure means conquest of all the earth and the planets. Worshipping, remembering, meditating on Him means freedom from all fears and attainment of eternal life and eternal happiness. Then he told him, O Duryodhan, still there is time. Tomorrow announce peace and friendship. I am sure you can save all the world and enjoy your kingdom and a full life. Duryodhana did not like this. He hated these words. Quietly he stood and walked to his tent and lay down on his bed, tossing and turning for a long time. On the 5th and 6th and 7th days again the Pandavas became victorious, my dear friends. Although Prince Iravan, the mighty son of Arjun, was killed, still 8 brothers of King Duryodhana along with all brothers of Shakuni died. Ghatotkacha was almost very near to killing Duryodhana himself, but somehow he escaped. On the 8th day, again, Bhimsen killed a few dozens of brothers of King Duryodhana. Doing so, he was very happy and pleased. My dear friend, Bhimsen was very happy and pleased. Although Bhimsen used to kill 10,000 soldiers of the although Bhishma used to kill 10,000 soldiers of Pandava's army every day, as he had promised, still Bhimsen, Arjun, Ghatotkacha and others were destroying more than 50,000 of Kauravas every day. Again the announcement came early to halt the fighting for a day. Duryodhana was aggrieved and furious on the big death rate which included his own brothers. He called for a special meeting and consulted Karna. Afterwards he went to Bhishma in his tent and requested, if you still believe that the Pandavas are unkillable and invincible, or that you won't use your power to kill them when you know you can, just out of your love for them and hatred for me, then please empty the post of commander-in-chief so that I can install Karna, who has long vowed to do or die for me. But only because of you, he has withdrawn. He has withdrawn from fight. I am sure with him we can win. And Duryodhana folded his hands, shedding tears, cried with pain and distress. But to Bhishma, the majestic warrior, his words pierced like arrow, my dear friend. They were too insulting to his dignity. He kept silent for a while, breathing long and deep. Then he looked at him and said, oh, tomorrow's battle will be immortal in the history of war and might. Look at these 5 arrows. He took those shining ones in his hands. I shall kill the Pandavas with all important warriors as long as Krishna does not intervene. O king, now you must leave. Bhishma ordered Duryodhana. Duryodhana was happy. Duryodhana returned very enthusiastic. He proclaimed everywhere that Bhishma has vowed to kill Pandavas tomorrow, for which purpose 5 special arrows have been set aside. He did not intentionally tell the other half of his vow, my dear friend. If Krishna will intervene, then he cannot do, but that he did not disclose. His army was full of enthusiasm, and in the parties and entertainment places and shopping centers, people were talking of it all over, everywhere. Great festivities spread, and a mini victory party began to celebrate. If Pandavas die, that certainly is the end of war. That means we are victorious, we are world conqueror. The empire will be ours. Wow, we are billionaires. After Duryodhana left Bhishma's residence, my dear friend, Bhishma sat in meditation and remembering Bhagavan Sri Krishna, he prayed, O merciful Bhagavan Krishna, forgive me for hostility of this servant of yours. O my most generous beloved, I know you will successfully save your dear bhaktas, the Pandavas, but please do pardon me too. Tears rolled on his cheeks and he felt the touch of the Lord Krishna in depth of his heart. The news of the Kauravas' great enthusiasm reached the Pandavas' tent, Pandavas' shivir through their scouting KGBs. Hearing that, all hearts of the Pandavas sank in utter gloom and regret. With overwhelming despondence, not for their oncoming death, but because of the nature of the vow of their own beloved Bhishma, the grandpa, and the fact that situations had come to such. They all boarded one chariot and arrived at Krishna's residence. He soon came out in the living room. Hearing everything, he hung his face morose and said, "If Bhishma has vowed, then there is no way. If Bhishma has vowed, what can I do?" Then he told them, "For a warrior fighting for a just cause and dying on the battlefield is equally as glorious as an entire world conquest. Therefore, you all, in my opinion, should be ready for the festival of life's grand sacrifice. Of course, I shall be there with you as I have ever been, but who knows? It is better to prepare. So go and do all the charity and donations and feeding of the holy ones and sacred worship and prayers, and whatever you deem worth doing before death, do all of them." No argument, no logic came out from the Pandavas. Krishna is the way. Krishna is the life. Krishna is the mission. They assembled all their enthusiasm and immediately sent hundreds of servants all around to invite and bring with them thousands of Brahmins and holy men and holy ladies. A huge hall was vacated and cleaned and decorated within an hour. Hundreds of kinds of food and drink and gold and auspicious articles were made ready. Holy men were duly worshipped and they were fed delicious items and offered great charities. Yes. All in the night. All people of the Pandavas' army were engaged in doing that. Nobody was sleeping or sleepy. Everyone engaged in pre-death rituals. Everywhere for miles and miles and miles lit up, and groups of wise men roamed around. But what is this? Arjuna intervened in the middle. After eating and receiving charities, when the holy men were finishing, they gave their usual blessings. O glorious ones, O long-lived ones, O most dear Pandavas, be victorious. What? Nakul and Sahadev and others glanced amazed and questioned the Brahmanas. Holy Sire, what is the meaning of this kind of blessing? By false blessing, by fake blessings, only to please us, this kind of blessing, only the fruits of your meritorious deeds will be burnt up and you will be left with nothing. all the fruits of your tapas will be diminished and finished. And all the holy men announced, Bhishma is a perfect celibate, that is okay. He is wonderful warrior, fine, but through the tongue of we holy men, we Brahmanas, it is only the God himself who speaks out and not we mortals. If Bhishma's vow is unwithdrawn, our blessing too will stay unwithdrawn. It will stay and stand like mighty Himalayas. Now, it is not a matter of Bhishma and you and your fighting. It is not a matter of Bhishma and your fighting. It is now a matter of our blessing and Bhishma's spiritual strength competing. Yes, this competition will continue. It is a matter of which one is dear to Bhagavan. Bhishma's tremendous willpower, born of his being a Bal Brahmachari or Pitri Bhakta, are our blessing to you out of our dharmic life, our love of Bhagavan. Now, the contest is between us. You watch the wonder. We cannot say anything more to you this time. Message was sent to the royal families in Upaplavya city camps that they be ready with the priests and large crematorium arrangements by tomorrow evening. As soon as Queen Draupadi heard, she was shocked and grieved to the core of her heart. She immediately ordered to ready the chariot and ran down to Subhadra, and she was meditating. Let us go to the battlefield. After conveying the news, she requested Subhadra Devi, Krishna, my brother, is there. Not a slightest unwanted thing can sneak off from his sight. If anyone comes which he knows well, then that is no trouble to that warrior sister. That can only be a boon. That can only be greeted with all the pleasure my life can uphold. He is there, and that is enough. I stay, I meditate. Draupadi's eyes became full of tears. We are going to be done by tomorrow. Sister, what are you talking? She rushed and embraced Subhadra. You are very powerful, Subhadra. I can see that you are convinced, but I am not. I will go and I am going to fight with your brother. And I will tell you, I will win or I die. Both looked into each other's faces in deep silence of midnight. Draupadi rode on her chariot with flew in the air like a wind. The horses never tired, and she needed no driver. She alone was going. She was driving the horses herself. One trusted maidservant. After an hour or so, the chariot stopped by the door of Krishna's palatial tent. It was 1:30 p.m. By now, All feasting of the holy men and charity donations were completed, and the warriors were resting for the big day ahead. She alighted and walked and entered the living room and saw Krishna, who was just preparing to retire to his bedroom. He greeted her. Both sat on two chairs facing each other and talked for a long time. Many times Draupadi cried, but Krishna was not to be in a mood of giving any good news, good hope. He repeated again and again, Grandpa has vowed, what else can I do? Or what else anyone can do? That was his patent reply. Then do me a little favor. Draupadi was really angry now. Krishna looked at her. It is better to die as Saubhagyavati than as a widow. Could you please then set me a fire and kindle fire by your own hand tonight? Oh great queen, your decision is as majestic, as heroic as it ought to be, quite suitable to you. It is chaste, adorable and respected as you are. I shall definitely help you if you take permission from your husband. Krishna said to her in the same coldness, my dear friend, I don't need anybody's permission. Draupadi Devi said, wise men say you are Virat. You are the cosmic person. You are here. If you consent, then it is useless, quite unnecessary to seek anyone else's permission. Draupadi Devi said persistently, my dear friends. And Krishna said, okay, then Sati must adorn herself with 16 decorations before she enters the fire. So you fix yourself. By then I am getting a royal fire ready for you, Krishna said. Draupadi Devi ran down to her chariot, carried her box and entered straight into Krishna's bathroom. Half an hour. When she came out, she looked as beautiful as her wedding day, my dear. Outside the tent, at about 100 yards away, an artistic fire had been made, and Krishna with a few attendants were waiting for her. She looked at Krishna, they looked at each other. Servants were standing, folded hands in reverence. Then she walked onto the fire. As soon as she lifted her foot to climb on the top of the heap of the woods, Krishna intervened. Just a moment, please, he said, making face. I forgot to tell you should receive blessing at least before you enter the fire. That is the custom. I don't go anywhere in this midnight. No, I will not. You are the cosmic man and you are here. If any blessing is needed, you just give me. Queen was determined. And she had made up her mind. Okay, Krishna said. Then at least before you enter the fire, you just make a Mahaparikrama. Mahaparikrama, that is a must. You came in front and stretched his arm, and she could not move further. I don't know what Mahaparikrama is. I know regular circumambulation. I can do that if you want. When you go to a sacred place, there are several circumambulations, the parikrama. One is Antarvedi parikrama, another is Panchakroshi parikrama, another one is Bahirvedi parikrama. The same way, fire too have three kinds of parikrama, the circumambulation. In usual situation, regular circumambulation is necessary, and if the corpse of the husband is available, Madhyam parikrama is necessary. But in your case, Mahaparikrama is compulsory. In a sad and heavy tone, Draupadi Devi said, I don't know how big is that Mahaparikrama. With enthusiasm, Krishna now said, I shall lead you. You just follow me. All right, she said, okay, I can do that. Soon they were walking the distance. After some time, Krishna turned to Draupadi and looking at her gold-bedded Punjabi shoes, to these seeing anybody can recognize you, because now you are walking along the various camps of the warriors. So please remove them. Draupadi Devi removed them. Her decorations were such. While walking, her hands were all occupied. So Krishna picked them and wrapped them in his scarf, my dear friends, and kept them in his armpit. And Krishna was walking and Draupadi was following, and they crossed some portion of the battlefield, then camps and tents and dangerous places. But she never questioned Krishna as where he was taking her. After all, she had already decided to jump out of life. What else can terrify her, and what labor can exhaust her, and what difficulty can make her complain, and to that most beloved one, Sri Krishna. There then suddenly Krishna stood in front of a gorgeous tent palace and looked at Draupadi Devi lovingly and said, Dear Draupadi, this is the residence of the oldest grandpa of your dynasty. We have come this far, then at least before life's end, offer him at least your obeisances. And there are no gatekeepers to ask any question. So holy man, and to the lady of dignity, it is necessary. She glanced at Krishna's face and stepped towards the indicated gate. Just in case, Krishna reminded her grandpa may be in meditation this time, and he may or may not like to take trouble to open his eyes. And so just let the sound of your ornament jingle a little bit, so that he can have at least faint idea that not Jane but some lady is going down to her blessing, and compose accordingly the blessing. That's it. She walked further, and Krishna stood in the dark under a tree outside the tent.